We often feel as though we are in full control of our mind sitting in the driver's seat, steering according to our conscious will. Yet, with only a little introspection, it becomes clear that in many cases we are not truly driving at all. Instead, we are following a built-in navigation system that operates far beyond our awareness. What we consciously perceive is merely the display screen, not the vast and intricate software running beneath it, or the even more complex hardware it runs on, if we never attempt to understand this internal navigation system, how it functions, where it aims to take us, and how to override it when it misguides us. We risk wandering aimlessly through life, arriving somewhere uninteresting at best and disastrous at worst. Among those who have attempted to map this inner terrain, few have gone deeper or further than Carl Jung, the 20th century Swiss psychiatrist, whose life's work was devoted to exploring the human mind from the inside out. Born in 1875 in Keswell, Switzerland, Jung grew up the son of a rural pastor, Paul Jung, and an eccentric, spiritually inclined mother, Emily. He was an intensely introverted child, isolated, imaginative, and prone to deep internal reflection. He spent much of his time alone in fantasy and analysis, studying the adults around him with quiet curiosity. School life, however, was a struggle. Jung underperformed, despised his lessons, and even developed fainting spells, psychosomatic escapes from the pressures of education. But after a stern warning from his father about his future, Jung underwent a dramatic shift. He began reading voraciously, immersing himself in philosophy and theology, and developed a growing fascination with the workings of the human soul. Eventually, Jung pursued medicine at the University of Basel, later specializing in psychiatry at Zurich, where he worked under the renowned psychiatrist Eugene Bleuler. His success and curiosity soon brought him into contact with the era's most influential psychologist, Sigmund Freud. When Jung and Freud met in 1907, their first conversation reportedly lasted 13 hours. A profound friendship and professional alliance followed. They lectured together, analyzed each other's dreams, and shared a mission to unlock the mysteries of the human mind. Yet beneath this bond was a tension. Freud, older and more established, took on the role of mentor, while Jung played the ambitious pupil. As Jung's ideas matured, however, he began to diverge from Freud's more scientific and reductionist view of the psyche. Jung leaned toward a broader, more symbolic and spiritual understanding of the mind. Their growing theoretical differences and the psychological dynamics of their mentor-student relationship ultimately fractured their friendship in 1913. That same year marked the beginning of Jung's own psychological crisis, a period of deep introspection that lasted several years. During this creative illness, as some would later call it, he delved into the depths of his own unconscious, documenting his visions and experiments in what would later become the Red Book. Out of this inner turmoil emerged Jung's most enduring insights. His life's mission became the understanding and integration of the psyche, the totality of one's conscious and unconscious being, so that a person might become whole. For Jung, the psyche included everything that makes up an individual: thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and instincts, both known and unknown. The goal of life, he believed, was the process of individuation, bringing the hidden parts of the psyche into conscious awareness, integrating them into a unified, authentic self. Man's task, Jung wrote, is to become conscious of the contents that press upward from the unconscious. As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. Jung's model of the psyche can be visualized as three layers: consciousness, the personal unconscious, and the collective unconscious. At the core of the conscious mind lies the ego, which creates the narrative of who we think we are. The ego's outward projection is the persona, the mask we wear to interact with society. The persona helps us function socially, but it often hides our true self, repressing the parts that don't fit the image our ego wants to maintain. These repressed elements descend into the personal unconscious, a reservoir of forgotten experiences, suppressed desires, and unresolved conflicts that still shape our behavior. Beyond that lies Jung's most original and profound idea, the collective unconscious. This is not personal at all, but universal, a vast, inherited layer of the psyche that contains the shared psychological patterns of humanity. Jung observed recurring symbols, motifs, and themes in dreams, myths, and art across cultures that had never interacted. These universal patterns, which he called archetypes, form the structural foundation of the human mind. Jung compared this inheritance to biological evolution. Just as we inherit physical traits, we also inherit psychological structures shaped by the collective experiences of our species. Within this framework, the shadow represents the repressed, denied, and often darker aspects of the self, the parts our ego refuses to identify with. Nested within the shadow are the anima and animus, the unconscious feminine aspect in men and the masculine aspect in women, all of these elements ego. Persona, shadow, anima, animus, and archetypes interact dynamically within the psyche. At the center of it all lies the self, the totality of who we truly are, our full, authentic being that encompasses both light and dark. The process of individuation is the lifelong journey of bringing the ego and persona into harmony. With this deeper self, it requires radical self-honesty and radical self-acceptance. To move toward authenticity, one must confront and integrate the shadow, acknowledging the potential for cruelty, jealousy, weakness, and fear within oneself rather than denying it. As Jung warned, good does not become better by being exaggerated, but worse, and a small evil becomes a big one through being disregarded and repressed. The shadow is very much a part of human nature, and it is only at night that no shadows exist. Facing the shadow is not pleasant. It can shake the very foundations of one's identity, but it is essential. Just as one must acknowledge illness to begin healing, one must recognize the darker parts of the psyche to achieve psychological wholeness, true self-realization. Jung believed is not the pursuit of perfection but of completeness, to know and integrate all aspects of the self, both noble and flawed. Though absolute individuation may be impossible, the pursuit of it gives life its deepest meaning. Ultimately, Jung's work offers a roadmap for gaining control of that inner navigation system, not by reprogramming it, but by learning its language. Once we begin to understand it, we can steer our lives with greater awareness, purpose, and authenticity, traveling not where the system blindly leads us, but toward where we truly wish to go.